All right, well, good morning, Ellis County. Good, very early morning. We are bringing you the latest on the storms moving into our area. I was hoping to do this in a little bit of a different way this morning, but didn't quite work out, and I had to scramble to kind of get everything back to where it's supposed to be. But as you see, we do have this thin line of thunderstorms moving in, and I wanted to make sure that we had this covered because what you'll notice is that not only do we have this shape bowing out, but here we have strong winds that are moving into our area. And one of the things that the National Weather Service has actually pointed out about this is that we are looking at some instability continuing along I-35. So as you can see, that took that quite literally as it hit I-35. If I put this into motion here, it hit I-35 and really started to bow out. So these stronger winds have really picked up in the last few moments. And of course, we do have a tornado watch that continues to be in effect until 7 a.m. And so the kind of the issue that we could be facing with all of this is that as this moves in, we do have shear in the atmosphere. So as this continues to move into this more unstable air and this area where the shear is more present, let me get these little arrows off of here. That's probably a little confusing. That's just the wind direction, but we don't really need that right now. As this continues to move through, it could very easily interact with that shear and result in some circulation, some rotation. So I want to make sure that we are keeping an eye on all of this. And I noticed that there's only about 100 of you, so it is definitely 3:22 in the morning. So if you're not bright-eyed and bushy-tailed like me, you're probably trying to sleep. But, I've had a cup of coffee. Hopefully, I was hoping not to have to take two so that when this is all done and over, I can sleep at least for maybe a few hours in the morning. But we do have these winds that are coming in very strong from the west here. And okay, so this National Weather Service noted they're watching the Boeing segment in eastern Johnson County moving into western Ellis County. Pretty good shear and is lined up in a way that could support a quick spin up. So the National Weather Service is watching this as well. But you see those pretty bright, my arrows are terrible. As you can see, the pretty bright reds, and as we're already starting to see in the Venus area, what really all it takes sometimes is for these winds to start kind of moving upward, and then for the inflow to reciprocate. So this is one area where we could start to see this little section kind of stick out, and then that could in turn bring in some inflow as well to this particular area. So right here in Venus, right here along 67 is one area that I'm watching moving right into the Venus area, going to be moving towards Ward and Midlothian here in the next few minutes. So that's one area that I am watching. Other than that, it's pretty smooth. What you want, ideally, in order to at least to avoid tornadic conditions, is for all of this to be pretty smooth. So from Venus on down to Grandview, you see it's pretty smooth. Thing is, though, that could also support straight line winds, which can also do damage. So it's kind of a give or take, right? Those are the kind of things that we're going to be watching here in the next few moments. But as you see here in the Venus area, we could start to see a little bit of a notch develop there on the left. This is wind direction and speed. This is the velocity view. And then, of course, on the right here is the regular radar view. So that's kind of what you're most used to seeing, right? As that continues to move on, that is moving into Ellis County now, and we are starting to see a little bit of a notch now on the regular reflectivity here. So that could, here on the left side, once this velocity view updates, could very well be further evidence of a notch developing there. And this tornado watch was issued some time ago, right? And I would not be surprised at all if we start to see little circulations developing here because there is more instability. Okay, yeah, we have strengthening winds now right there to the west of Midlothian. So south of Britain, west of Midlothian, we have this particular area of wind that is strengthening now. So we definitely do need to keep an eye on this. So we're going to zoom in on this right now. This is moving right up 67 towards the Midlothian area. We'll be approaching 287 very, very shortly. So this is the area that I'm watching. Increasing winds, very specific between Venus and Ward, really between Venus and Midlothian. I know a lot of folks may not know where Ward is, but you see it here on the map. So if you are between Midlothian and Midlothian, you're not really getting a whole lot right now. The strongest winds are just to your west, but we are continuing to watch this area. And as I said, we have strengthening winds coming in here, and we could very quickly begin to see the inflow start to reciprocate a little bit. Okay, approaching. Yes, National Weather Service is keeping an eye on this. We are watching this circulation that is moving towards the Midlothian area. I would say if you are in Midlothian right now, it would probably behoove you to go ahead and take shelter where you can. I'm not calling this a tornado situation right now, but the problem with some of these circulations is that we could see these begin to rotate pretty fast. They happen quickly, and fortunately they don't last very long, but the problem is that sometimes by the time we get a warning out and everything, or the National Weather Service rather gets a warning out and everything, there could be a circulation on the ground. So I know they are watching this possible rotation in that area, and the thing is that it could go as quickly as it develops. It could be really, really quickly there, really, really quickly gone. Looks like the chat is saying that they may not be seeing that anymore. They may be looking at the CASA radar out there. I am looking at radar scope. So as far as my radar is concerned, I have not seen that leave yet. We're going to be watching the left end of the screen here. But like I say, these things happen very fast. And, it can go either way very quickly. It can either strengthen or it can dissipate. Looks like it may be getting a little less organized here. But other than that, we're still kind of seeing some stronger winds, especially northwest of Midlothian now. But this is a little bit more bowed out. So I don't know that this is really as big a concern in terms of rotation, but I'm going to continue to keep an eye on this. Getting reports of hail in the Midlothian area right around the hospital, Methodist Midlothian there. So that's going to continue to move off. This is going to be approaching areas to the west of Midlothian very soon. Mountain Peak probably getting hit now. Midlothian getting hit now. Going to be moving towards Ovilla and Sardis, Oakleaf, eventually Waxahachie as well. So we'll zoom out a little bit. This is the area that I was watching, and I'm still going to be kind of keeping my eye on this until we, definitely see some signs of de-escalation. But as you see on the right, just a very classic area of, let me see if I can get this to, okay. I'm just trying to make sure that some of my other features are working here after very foolishly trying something earlier that didn't quite work out. But we have this thin line, and as quickly as it's there, it's gone. So it may very well move in and be gone and not have anything for you to worry about, but it is moving fairly quickly. Let's take a broad view here. Here's the line that we're watching, and this is the one that I'm really the most concerned about right now. As we go further out, let's just take a kind of a broad view. Do have more development south of Hamilton there from about Gatesville down just west of Lampasas, and this storm here may bear watching that is south of the Hamilton area because it is kind of a storm by itself. That's something that you really don't want to see in an environment like this, and there is a little bit of a notch there. Now it does look like that could be be strengthening. So we will continue to watch that storm as well. But in the meantime, we need to be watching this stuff just west of Midlothian. And anytime, again, we get these little kinks in the line, these little notches in the line, those are going to be the things that I'm going to be watching very closely. It looks like we have emergency management in Johnson County watching that area as well, so I'll be keeping in tune with that too. So really the strongest part of this is from about really now going to be around Cedar Hill down in Midlothian, going to be moving again towards Midway Airport, Sardis, Ovilla, eventually Oakleaf and Waxahachie too. And I don't have an update on the left side of your screen, which this is again, that is your, this is the velocity. So this is going to tell us wind speed and direction. So any kind of circulation, we're going to see it there first. Definitely showing, quite a bit of activity falling in the Midlothian area. The moderator, Matt, is over in that area, so he may be able to report what's happening there, kind of on the southern side of Midlothian, south of 287 there. But we'll keep watching off to the left to make sure that we don't have any further circulation there. Okay, so it does look like that area of circulation has de-escalated and kind of disorganized there. To the west of Cedar Hill, looks like we have a bowing area of very strong winds, so that could very well be where the strongest part of the storm in terms of wind is, and we have heard reports of hail. So off to the right where you see the reds here and some of those darker reds, that's where we're going to be watching for possibly some hail. Down towards the Maypearl area, the line doesn't look as intense, but again, we're kind of seeing this little bit of a hook feature, so maybe something to watch in that area as well. But this line is fairly thin. It's a very thin line that's bowing out. It's taking advantage of the instability. And National Weather Service is saying that Johnson County doesn't appear to be concerned with the development further to the south. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that just in case that does materialize into something for our area that that may be moving more towards Ellis County than Johnson County over there. But this line is really that's what we're watching for our immediate area. And we'll keep an eye on what's going on in the southwest, of course, over the next few hours. But for now, we are all set with what we've got in front of us. I'm going to grab the old MacBook here, get that set up with a broader view of what's going on. Again, I kind of deconstructed my setup here. I was trying to do a little bit of a different view, and I'm going to be experimenting with that the best that I can over the next few days. I didn't really get very far, but the possibilities, of course, are endless. So, who knows what may be coming in the coming days and weeks for the remainder of this severe weather season, which is, of course, just getting kicked off. It's just, it's brand new, it's early. So from Midlothian down to Maypearl here, heavy rain, strong winds going to be blowing through there. That's pretty much going to be the main feature for the moment. We do have this kind of jagged feature here. I don't really know what to make of that. I don't see increasing wind speeds or anything of that sort at the moment. So I'm not immediately concerned, but I will say that we'll keep an eye on that part of the storm for sure in the next few moments in case we do see increasing wind speeds, because that, again, could be one of these old features that we will have to keep an eye on. So I'm setting up another radar screen here so that I can kind of keep an eye on this activity to our southwest, moving towards the Clifton area. Looks like that's starting to bow out too, so that could be taking advantage of more instability. Thing is, this part of the storm here, this line, could help to stabilize the atmosphere a little bit, so that would help us to not have to deal with quite as much of a severe weather threat in our particular area. But this storm moving towards Clifton is quite the beast. And again, it is out there kind of by itself. It looks like there might be some more development below it, but largely on its own. to gobble up the instability and other storm ingredients out that way. Strongest winds again are going to be headed really towards, they're moving towards the Duncanville and DeSoto areas right now in southern Dallas County. Looks like Ellis County for now is going to be looking at gusty winds and heavy rain for the most part. So those winds coming right off Joe Pool Lake there, really the focus of the activity at the moment. This is going to be clearing Midlothian pretty fast, actually. Going to be moving right into Midway Airport very, very soon, into Sardis, Ovilla, and Oakleaf as well, right towards the I-35E corridor here very soon. Moving towards my location in between Waxahachie and Pecan Hill, you see the little Ellis County weather flag there. Going to be moving my direction, and then again down 35 to 5 Points, Forreston, Italy, Milford area as well in the next few minutes. So this is kind of what we're looking at. The I-45 corridor right now from Ferris down to Palmer, looking at some rain. Not a whole lot going on in Ennis right now, but this line will most likely push into that area as well. Further to the west, we do have some showers and thunderstorms in the Cleburne area. That does not look severe, but I am keeping an eye on this storm further down to our southwest to see what that is going to do, if it's going to continue to intensify, or, you know, if it's going to possibly fizzle out down there, somewhere between there and here. We could be looking at a little more of a hail threat just to the west of Sardis here. You see this little bit of pink. That darkening area could be evidence of a growing hail threat for that area, so that would be moving, looks like north of Sardis, between Sardis and probably right around Midway Airport, and then moving on to the east, northeast towards northern Waxahachie there, between Waxahachie and Red Oak, I think is going to be the target area for that, and could very well be headed towards my location as well. So I may be hearing some tapping on the roof here in just a few moments. But by and large, we don't have any immediate threats at the moment. We'll see what this imagery on the left will tell us here very shortly, once that can actually get kind of organized there. That we will, okay, we've kind of expanded the view here, so that's a little easier to see. Kind of wish I could get rid of this, so I don't know if I can get rid of the search bar, because I know that's kind of blocking your view if you're just north of Wilmer of what's happening there. Not a whole lot, but, you know, maybe I can remedy that somehow. So far over here on the left, everything does look pretty innocuous, pretty calm, relatively calm. Stronger winds west of Waxahachie, west of Red Oak there. You see kind of the brighter colors there. So that's going to be some gustier winds. And then obviously just a thin line of heavy rain, possibly some small hail mixed in with that as well. If we go into this one more time, that's the area we were concerned about, as you see those stronger winds now moving up towards the Oak Cliff area there in southeastern Dallas. And, you know, gusty winds, but nothing too terrible moving in. That notch we did see there dissipated as it moved towards Midlothian, so nothing terribly concerning there, and really not looking at anything too concerning in that particular area. Once this thin line moves through your area, you're good, at least for a while. You're pretty much done. Let's get another broader view. We can turn the velocity off because we're not really concerned about that right now. What I want to show you is two things. This is the part of the line that's moving through our area right now, so that's going to continue to move off to the northeast, and then down to our southwest is this storm moving towards the Clifton area now, moving into Clifton now actually. That's going to continue to move off to the northeast, and what I will note is that there was a little bit of a hail core here. You can see that there, and that doesn't really look to be holding on to that. So that storm could very well be weakening as it moves towards our area, could be moving into some more stable air behind all of this activity. I don't think that's terribly likely. I do think that there does at least appear to be some instability in the atmosphere. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on all of that. But this line moving through really looks to be the biggest threat for our area. It's mostly a small hail and wind threat. So this is moving into Oakleaf, going to be moving into Red Oak very shortly, right towards I-35. So if you're on I-35, not a good time to be on that highway right now, all the way really from southern Dallas all the way down across I-20, across 287 there. And it's going to be a little while longer before it gets to Forreston and 5 Points, Italy, and Milford. Milford, it looks like most of that's going to go to your north, as well as Italy, really. Italy may not see much of this at all. Then, of course, there's more shower and thunderstorm activity back in the Cleburne area, but that does not show any attributes of severe weather. Now, I will point out that none of these storms are warned right now. We do not have a single warning out. We just have the tornado watch that goes until 7 a.m. So for the moment, we are completely free of any indications of ongoing severe weather. We have been watching this event, and earlier today I said I really didn't expect a whole lot out of this event. The more we saw models, the more it seemed like an outflow boundary was going to be produced by this line, and then it was going to continue forward and kind of disorganize this whole thing. And that's really what it did, although this little segment of this storm was allowed apparently to scale up a little bit as that continues to move through, but it doesn't look like it's really gaining strength that much. We saw that brief spin up just outside of Midlothian, really on the northwestern side of Midlothian. Little circulation trying to develop there, didn't really hold on to anything, and now it is just a thin line of rain and thunder that's going to continue to move through with some gusty winds ahead of it, and that should be that. So let's go back to this view with the velocity. Let's kind of keep an eye on this, and there you see those stronger winds moving in, those brighter colors, but nothing too terribly scary. And down south of Maypearl, looks like we could have a little bit of a notch there, but it's really not looking like anything worth really being concerned about. So I think for the moment, I think we're all pretty well set. I just kind of keep getting a lay of the land here. And I'm going to kind of keep a view on this storm down in Clifton moving towards the Whitney area. I'm just going to train this side radar on that, because that's really going to be the next thing we need to watch, because in the southern part of the storm, there are some stronger winds in that part of the storm. So I think that that one moving to the northeast up towards Meridian, towards Whitney right now, slamming Clifton right now. Clifton probably getting some hail at the moment out of that storm. That's going to be the next feature to watch for our area. Nothing too intimidating happening here, and you're going to hear this storm move through. You're going to hear the winds. If you hadn't heard the wind already today, this will give you an opportunity. Waxahachie will be getting some of this very, very soon. This rain beginning to move through. Maypearl, things are calming down already. If you're south of Waxahachie, you're really probably not going to see much of this activity for our particular area. It does look like things are going to stay pretty calm as they get through Ellis County, which I will definitely take that, because I do not want to see a storm at peak strength at 3:30 in the morning. That to me is almost a worst case scenario, because people are sleeping and they're not going to be worried about what the weather's doing. Looks like between Oakleaf and Waxahachie here, we could be looking at a little bit of an area of increasing winds. It is on the leading edge, and so we'll kind of keep an eye on this. And we really weren't looking at too big a tornado threat. Definitely not anything like what we had, about a week ago, where there were 17 tornadoes that were reported across the state of Texas. So we're not going to be seeing that, but conditions are favorable to where we could see a few of these little spin up tornadoes. So little features like that, where you start getting a spot of increasing winds on the leading edge of the storm, will be worth watching. And if you're in the Oakleaf area, you're getting some rain, possibly some hail. in that area, but other than that, nothing besides that going on there. I will be watching this little feature for that moving towards the Pecan Hill area, possibly the southern parts of Red Oak. If we zoom out again, there's some thunder here at my location. As we zoom out again, Midlothian, you're done for the moment. I think you're probably done with the severe weather threat for a while here. I wouldn't be confident enough to say that you're done for the night. I am watching some more activity. There is some more activity to the west. This over in Johnson County does not look severe at all. Looks like that's just going to be some shower and thunderstorm activity that's going to come in behind this. The good news is, out of this, we'll probably get some fairly decent rain, I would think. Already approaching 1/4 of an inch here at the studio here, and I'm not even really getting the heaviest of the rain yet, so could be adding to that pretty efficiently. But this line, very thin line moving through, it's going to get there, it's going to rain, it's going to stop. It's going to be very, very quick to move through that area, and I'm still waiting for an update here on the left to see if we're going to get more increasing winds just south of Oakleaf. That's going to be just south of Red Oak here pretty shortly, moving towards the Pecan Hill area. Let's go ahead and zoom in on that. And I have to watch this. Okay, there's the update. So still some stronger winds moving towards the Pecan Hill area south of Red Oak here. Really southern portions of Red Oak, and then eventually on to Ferris. That looks like that could be the strongest part of this storm. It's not remarkable at the moment, but it's one of those things that it's early enough. It looks like it could be remarkable if it wanted to be. It doesn't look like it's very ambitious at the moment, but it is worth watching. I am still watching this storm down in the Clifton area, moving towards Whitney and eventually Hillsboro, because the southern portions of that storm do appear to show some very strong winds, and it's kind of out there by itself. It does look to be showing some supercell characteristics, so definitely not the best situation there as far as trying to avoid any supercell activity at all. So we're gonna stay trained on that, because that's impacting Clifton now, but that will be moving towards Whitney and Hillsboro, and eventually up the road into Ellis County if it can maintain its strength there. So not a whole lot to talk about right now at the moment. I wanted to go ahead and jump on. We don't have any severe weather warnings, no severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings, just that one tornado watch. But I wanted to go ahead and jump on because I saw this segment was bowing out and I wasn't sure what that was going to turn into, and I knew that if a tornado did develop that it would be very, very quick, so I wanted to make sure that any kind of circulation we saw, people were aware that was possibly going on. And you may see some of these little notches if we zoom in a little bit to the north, west of Ferris, south of Lancaster here, but I don't see any kind of rotation here on the left to correspond with that, so I think we're okay. This activity is going to be moving through Waxahachie now, won't last much longer there. Midlothian, you're going to be clearing out at least for a little while, and got some more rain coming in off to the west, but down in the Maypearl area, this line is clearing you. This will clear the I-35 corridor pretty fast. Okay, so Mariah, you're saying you're watching your neighbor's roof on their shed blow off. 75167. So that's actually a pretty large area. 75167 is a large area. If you can give us a street name, that would really be a lot more helpful. Yeah, no rain in that part of Waxahachie yet, that part of Ellis County. And Mariah, what part of Waxahachie is that? Is that western Waxahachie, southern Waxahachie? Okay, almost half an inch just west of Oakleaf. That sounds about right. There is heavier rain in that area. And so we have more activity. Let's kind of give everybody a wider orientation here. More activity off to the west, moving in from Alvarado and Venus area down to Rio Vista. That's moving off to the east. Going to move into Ellis County in the next few minutes. So this activity is not as strong as what we just saw move through the Midlothian area. But nevertheless, you know, more rain, more lightning, more thunder, and looks like this stronger part of the storm looks like that's going to move off into the Ferris area and then move off to the northeast and clear things out. So I don't expect a whole lot out of that. Really, the star of the show right now is going to be this large storm. This monster down in the Clifton area, moving towards Whitney right now. Whitney, you're about to start picking up the heavier rain in that area. That's going to move up through Hill County, probably into at least parts of Ellis County. And the circulation here, we'll have to kind of wait and see what that does. I'm sure the National Weather Service is keeping an eye on that storm. It is a bit of a beast, and it is kind of making its own way down in that Clifton area. We zoom in on this, so right around Laguna Park is going to be kind of the next in line for this rotating part of the storm, somewhere between Laguna Park and Tyson there. And I mentioned moving towards Whitney. Whitney may get the heavier precipitation part of the storm, really the downdraft, where you've got a little bit of a pink, maybe some hail there. And then this segment that's bowing out is really what's kind of got me paying attention, because this bowing out section, and I won't even show you on velocity yet, I'll just show you here. The bowing out section is going to be winds, very strong winds moving that direction. You can kind of see how this section is kind of wanting to pull up here, and then you could very well have some inflow moving in where that notch is, and that's enough to cause rotation. Let's see. I apologize. I am exhausted. All right, so and you see the brighter colors here. That is the stronger winds. And it's far enough away from the radar right now that we're not really getting a very good look at it. But I would venture to say that this is going to be definitely worth watching over the next few minutes as that continues to move up towards our area, up towards Hill County, then eventually Ellis and Navarro counties. This line, very thin line. Looks like I need to refresh the radar real quick. I think Radar Omega's been worn out tonight. This whole kind of shrimp-shaped line here is going to continue to move off to the northeast, move through Dallas County, moving towards Plano and Garland right now, over to Mesquite, down into the Wilmer and Ferris area right now. That's going to continue to move off, and that'll be really not our concern. That really the severe weather threat from that part of the storm, or that part of the system, is not really too much of a worry at the moment. I would say that what I'm focused on right now is this storm down in the Clifton area, and we'll get a better view on radar very soon. And I'm waiting to see if the National Weather Service is going to put out any kind of notice on that. I'm sure they're watching and evaluating it at the moment, as that appears to be, from what I can tell, let me kind of get a broader view myself, that looks to be kind of the biggest storm in North Texas right now. And as I mentioned, the Whitney area looks like you guys are going to be getting primarily the hail threat, but as this part of the storm continues to move off to the northeast, we will be watching this rotation. And that's going to continue to move off to the northeast, really up towards Hillsboro and Malone there, on up into possibly southern Ellis County. Kind of depends on which direction it takes. Oftentimes, storms like this, if they begin to rotate, take a bit of a right turn. And so if that does happen, then, we could see that storm move a little further south than that into, southern Navarro County. But, it's still quite a ways out, so we will have to keep an eye on that there. Okay, let me just I need to check a couple of things. Okay. Now, as far as receiving stars, Elizabeth, Justin, I believe that's, let's see, Ibrahim and Catherine. I appreciate you guys sending those stars. That really, really helps me out. That's always inspiring to get some stars at nearly 4 o'clock in the morning, right? Means I'm doing something right. Those stars do go to support the operation that I'm doing here. And if anything, hey, helps me buy some coffee, right? That would be the main thing right now. This storm down and now moving into Hill County continues to really be kind of the main concern here. Not a whole lot of discussion from the National Weather Service on that storm. But, you know, it does bear watching over the next few minutes, so we'll continue to stay on the air. Thank you, Nathan, for the stars from you as well. So let's kind of take a look at this, because I know that there's Hill County folks that are watching. Cedar Shores right here, right near Lake Whitney and Live Oak Resorts. This is the part of the storm where we're probably seeing a little bit of a hail threat moving into that area right now. You see this little bit of a purple, the darker red there. That's going to be moving off to the northeast. So that's right around Lake Whitney right now, going to be heading right towards Live Oak Resorts. So those areas need to be watching very closely. Whitney going to be getting some very heavy precipitation in that area too. So you want to be watching that very closely as well. Let me see. Just trying to make sure I'm staying up to date here. Sometimes information can be kind of few and far between this early in the morning, so I'm trying to grab what I can. As this storm continues to move off to the northwest, northeast rather, let me just kind of give you a broader view of this storm. Okay, and so, yeah, just north of Crawford here, you see this bright green. That's the area that I'm concerned about, because that's going to be very, very strong winds moving towards... Let's kind of zoom in a little bit more here. Again, moving towards the Tyson area, moving up towards Tyson, just east of... I don't know if that's Coyote or Coyote. I don't know how that's pronounced. It's probably one of those Texas towns where they have an interesting pronunciation of that. That's going to be moving off towards FM 933 here, Tyson, that area, possibly up to Laguna Park, just depending on if it continues to slide off to the northeast or takes more of an easterly direction. But that hail core going to be moving right towards Lake Whitney, up towards Huron and Live Oak Resorts. Okay, so here we have an update, and there is that... Okay, we see a deepening hail core here. Let me kind of take that off there. Deepening hail core right there around Lake Whitney right now, heading right towards Live Oak Resorts. So that's, if you're in the Lake Whitney area, you're probably getting some hail right now. That should be watched, and where there's hail, there could be very strong winds as well. Some of those downburst winds blowing, and that cool air being forced out of the storm, goes straight down, moves out in all directions. So that's the downdraft area, so be careful in that area. You could be facing severe thunderstorm-like conditions. There are no warnings for this yet, but that doesn't mean that you may not be seeing some very intense conditions. Up in Ellis County, I can tell you that this thin line continues to move out. I really don't see anything severe in Ellis County. We'll go over to this velocity view, just make sure we're not seeing anything suspect there. Some stronger winds over west of Ferris. So the Ferris area, you may be getting some strong winds here very shortly moving into your area, but I don't see anything particularly concerning. I am continuing to watch this storm down that's to the southwest of Whitney right now. I'm really moving into the Whitney area with this area of possible circulation down further down to the south. Thank you for the stars, Christina and Christine. Definitely appreciate that at this very, very early hour. If you can't tell, I'm exhausted. I know Matt's exhausted. I'm sure just about everybody is, and everybody wants this to be over so that we can get on with our night, and I can wake up in about 2.5 hours. to take my son to school. But here's all this activity, and as you can see, it is all moving off to the east-northeast. I just keep losing the radar tonight. I think it's just worn out. But as you can see, it continues to move off to the east, and nothing has really impacted Ennis yet. There's still a possibility of seeing some activity there. What I will say is that you see this front edge moving off to the east, and it looks like that's kind of the main line here. And so it looks like that may be kind of elongating this storm, kind of pulling some of the energy off of it. So this storm that is moving into the Whitney area, slowly but surely moving into the Whitney area, may not be too much of a concern for much longer. But as long as it is there, it is continuing to drop possibly some hail, into that particular area. So it could be looking at a little bit of hail in the Lake Whitney area. That's going to be heading off towards, again, Live Oak Resorts, the Huron area, up towards Grub Hill, Mayberry, Mayfield, Osceola, and eventually towards the Itasca area. And then we'll be watching to see if that's going to continue on into Ellis County. But that is moving into Hill County right now. No discussion of warnings just yet. But we will continue to keep an eye on this activity. There's going to be more shower and thunderstorm activity moving into Ellis County. Let's take another look at that. Back over from about Cedar Hill down to Venus, on down to Rio Vista here. Going to continue to move off to the east. Not anything terribly concerning about this. It's just going to be some regular rain. And as that clears through, we have this storm down to the southeast that we need to watch. And I think after that point, all of this should begin to move off to the east. I think we'll be cleared out of just about everything probably by, I would say 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. I think that's when we'll be completely done, completely out of the area. And, it may be earlier. We may be set by about 6 o'clock. So, but I will say that the concerning features in this storm down in the Whitney area do appear to be kind of falling apart. Looks like it could be becoming part of the line here. And that could very well affect this supercell, at least supercell-like thunderstorm, kind of losing its oomph and losing its ability to maintain its own strength, which, means that it's going to be more distributed along the line and, generally going to kind of tamper and tame this storm as it continues to move through. And all of this is moving, it's moving fairly quickly to the northeast, but it's not moving very quickly eastward. So it's going to be in our area at least for a little while. Unfortunately, it's just going to take its time, right? It's going to do its thing for a while, and we're all going to be sitting here hoping to go to bed very soon. I certainly will be, but we're not quite there yet. Petra, thank you so much for sending in some stars. Definitely appreciate that. And like Matt mentioned, if you've never sent stars before on Facebook, you might have some free ones that you can send. If someone puts in the comments that, they got a free 200 stars, don't expect that that's automatically going to apply to you. It may not. Last week, there was quite a bit of confusion on that. So we want to make sure that everyone understands. So here's all of our activity. You see that this is kind of starting to bow out here, and I think that this is eastward motion that is kind of disorienting this particular storm that began to look like it was trying to rotate. I think at this point it really isn't, but what is intensifying is that hail threat. You can see some definite purples and pinks here just to the southeast of Huron, possibly moving up towards FM 934 and 171 there. Probably right between Woodbury and Covington. May actually be moving towards the Covington area, pretty close to Itasca, and then moving up into southeastern Johnson County and then southwestern Ellis County. And National Weather Service is largely quiet at the moment, so I think they're just kind of evaluating things right now. What will be interesting is to see what this storm to the southwest does now that it's beginning to take on more of a bow shape, and it's kind of being forced that way. So that could very well kind of change how that storm acts and what the concerns are could turn it just into a more straight line wind threat, than anything else. So if we, again, just take a broad view, I'm just going to put this into motion here so you can kind of see what is occurring here. And again, eastward motion moving towards the Waco area right now. That's probably, that may in fact be the cold front overrunning all of that activity, pushing it off to the east. I do not think that we're looking at much of a tornado threat for really any part of Ellis County, at least at the moment. I will say that this storm northwest of Waco does bear watching. That's going to be moving towards our area, especially that little hail area. That I think is going to be the most concerning. So we'll continue to watch, and this is west of West, if you want to try to follow that, west of Abbott. And of course, heavy rain beginning to move into the Hillsboro area. Looks like the hail threat is going to miss Hillsboro to the west, but there is plenty of more heavy rain in the Whitney area down to Laguna Park, all the way almost down here to Rocky Springs and Golson there. Going to be moving off to the northwest. As far as when this storm will be in Ellis County, I would say we're going to start seeing it in the Ellis County area. Probably, here's Ellis County here, so it'll probably start affecting us here in the next half hour. I would say, if not, maybe a little sooner. The speed on these storms is a little deceiving because you're trying to calculate how quickly will the system move to the west, or from the west to the east. And then it's also got northeasterly motion on it as well. So, it's kind of hard to project sometimes how long it'll take. Is it you're thinking, it's going to move off to the east and going to be here in no time. Well, it's moving northeast, so it kind of moves oblique, and it's kind of a slanted track, so it's not as dead on as it may seem. I'm just going to keep kind of watching off the corner of my eye here. I'm still very suspicious of this storm, even though it's not really doing anything at the moment. It does look at least capable of it. Let's take another velocity view of this storm that is making its way towards Hillsboro. And yeah, well, I mean, we could be, again, this is pretty far away from the radar. But if you look at this, to the southeast of Laguna Park, some reds and greens getting pretty close together there, and of course you have a corresponding notch here. Could be something that is worth watching. It's further away from the radar, so it's kind of hard to tell. Here we have another update, and I don't see very strong winds in that area. That's what I don't see. If I had some bright greens and bright reds that were really, really tight, there might be more reason for concern there, but I don't quite see that. But again, the thing is that the atmosphere is primed for there to be plenty of shear and rotation, so little things like this sometimes can become bigger deals. That's just what we have to kind of keep in mind. And then just west of Tyson, you see some stronger winds in the green as well, kind of out ahead of all this. And, that could, over time, begin to feed into some of that inflow for a notch and create more rotation. And there's more development down further, now moving into Gatesville. I don't think that that's really going to be as much a concern for our area. I think that's going to get a little bit more eastward push and not have to be a concern for Ellis County in particular. But I do want to see what this particular part of the storm does over the next few minutes. And I know this is probably boring. I know that I hope I'm speaking straight, because I am worn down right now. It's been a busy few days. Absolutely. So we're just going to kind of wait and see what this does. because in the next few minutes, that's really going to be, I think, definitive. Because what I'm worried about is that we could have broad rotation developing here. We could have these outflow winds causing this bow here, and then inflow winds reciprocating and causing this little notch. So that's kind of my concern. So we have that off to the right. Let's see what happens on the left. Because this would seem, at least this current view, it'll update any moment, but that would seem to corroborate some developing rotation there, or at least, the two would seem to agree and seem to kind of confirm each other as far as what we think we're seeing. Okay, no new word from the National Weather Service on this yet. I'm sure they're watching cautiously. All right, let's see what happens to the on the left here. Definitely want that update as soon as possible. And again, the area of concern here, I'm going to kind of focus in on it a little bit. Area of concern is right here. We do see a little bit of some brighter colors on either side, some polarization here, but not anything that immediately, has me concerned. And on the right here, there's not a terribly deepening notch there, so nothing too alarming at the moment. So let's see what this latest radar update has for us as soon as that left side gives an update. Okay, here we go. All right, so continuing concern here really, because we have this area of winds developing and kind of this center just north of Smith's Bend, south of southwest, or southeast rather. Y'all gotta give me a second. Southeast of Whitney, there's some growing winds. And, again, winds possibly blowing here, kind of causing this little bit of a bow, and then could be some reciprocating winds. So there could be some some weaker broad rotation there. Nothing immediately concerning to me, but definitely worth continuing to monitor that, because if you look again, we have these winds kind of bowing out this direction. So we have winds moving this way, and they're bowing out that section. But what can happen is you have winds kind of inflow that reciprocate, and that's where you have your rotation, right? Thank you so much, Amy, for the stars. I definitely appreciate that. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on this area. And of course, this is not Ellis County yet, but this is Hill County that will eventually move towards Ellis and Navarro counties. So, it does bear watching for our area. Now, it does look like there's some rain. It does look like some rain is hitting some fire sites, which is definitely a positive. I think if there's anything that's good we can get out of this, it's the rain. We are up to just right almost to a half an inch of rain here at the studio. And looks like a couple of things that have me a little bit worried here. One is the continuing hail core right near Itasca. That's going to be moving up towards Ellis County very shortly. And then if we look, we do have more evidence here of rain getting kind of bowed out here and pushing out that direction. You see how this is corresponding, and then does look like we could have this. You see this little S here, and you see this section that could be inflow, and then this section which could be outflow. So you see two little notches here, and we are definitely seeing some more interaction between the two. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we need to start paying attention right here along just to the east of FM 933. Again, here, let me kind of give you a lay of the land here. Let me put that back on. Hopefully. So here is Abbott. Hillsboro is right here. So this is south. southwest of Hillsborough, southeast of Whitney. And yeah, this is outside of Ellis County, but number one, this is an area that does have some coverage. And two, this is a storm that will be moving towards Ellis County. You can see Milford up here, Carl's Corner, Mountain View. So the Ellis County area is there. And, we could be seeing cycling circulation. And what I'm worried about seeing is right here, we could very well be seeing some tightening circulation in this area to the south of Hillsborough, southeast of Whitney, moving off to the northeast. So I think that I would not be surprised if there is a tornado warning issued for southern Hill County soon for that circulation, because it won't take much at all for this activity to strengthen and start to rotate a little bit. It definitely does have my full and undivided attention at this moment. Okay, and I'm watching something else on another view here. Okay, so yeah, and you see this little kind of wrapping around here. Just outside of west, so that could be another part of this as well. But this circulation, this area is really what I'm worried about. Okay, yeah, watching the cell near Aquila in Hill County. So pretty good rotation on that storm. So we're gonna keep watching this, and this is a storm that has really good structure. You can see we have a little bit of a hail core just north of Itasca there. Really good structure. Pretty classic hook structure here, hook shape for a supercell thunderstorm. This is pretty much going to be our primary concern, and so this is the area we're watching. So north of west, south of Hillsborough right now. Again, as you can see, we see a definite couplet there of the reds and the greens that are getting together, and that's going to continue on here. We see an update, and possibly a little less organized, but definitely still seeing some broader rotation. Now seeing some brighter reds there over south of Hillsborough here. So this is going to be a storm that we're going to need to keep an eye on, that is moving to the northeast, really kind of east-northeast. Looks like it might have taken kind of a right turn, which is, again, another characteristic of some of these rotating supercell thunderstorms. So we'll continue to watch this, and if it does not directly affect Ellis County, could move pretty close to the south of there. Looks like this hail core continues just to the north of Itasca. That will probably move towards Ellis County very soon. Let's keep an eye on that. South of Grandview, going to be moving over towards the kind of probably between Auburn and Plum Grove there. FM 38 is right there. As we get closer, FM 66, of course, and there is Maypearl. So in those areas, this hail core will continue to move off, and then this is kind of the circulation that we're watching, this area of rotation that could become a area of concern now. And we will need to watch this very closely. And if they do issue a warning, they may only include Central Hill County in this, but they may include parts of Ellis County as well, going towards the Italy area. Just kind of they'll make a polygon that could include parts of Ellis County. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this activity. And this storm is still kind of out there by itself. It's really not getting much competition. So that as well has me worried that this storm is able to kind of suck in some instability, that kind of thing. And most of Ellis County, we'll take a broader view. Most of Ellis County just getting spotty showers right now. This storm is going to be moving off to the northeast. So if you are in the Maypearl area, in and around Maypearl, be prepared. There may be some hail moving towards your direction from the Itasca area. But really the area of concern is south of Hillsborough right now, as this area of circulation is approaching 35 between Hillsboro and Abbott right now. This could move pretty close to the southern part of Hillsboro over the next few moments. Okay, here we have an update, and again, we still have a bit of a classic kind of hook here. And sometimes it's hard to tell on the reflectivity here. This is just the regular kind of precipitation. Sometimes it's hard to see exactly what the winds are doing, so we'll need to watch and see what the update here on the left says here in the next few seconds. But I'm still seeing a pretty good shape here. Again, this hail core looks to be moving off to the north, so Grandview, Auburn, those areas need to be watching this right now. This possible hail threat moving into your particular area. But the main concern is going to be this area of rotation, and we have to keep an eye on the velocity radar here to the left. So let's see when that update comes in. Okay, here we go. And it looks like that any rotation may be broad, maybe more broad now. So not quite as centralized, not really seeing the couplet that we saw a few moments ago. So we could be seeing that rotation beginning to cycle down a little bit. But sometimes they cycle down and then cycle back up and down and up and go back and forth. So this is probably something we're going to need to continue to watch as it moves through. That area of circulation going to be moving south of Hillsboro towards the Bynum area. And then again, here's Ellis County, here's Milford, here's Mertens, here's Malone. So it's going to be moving that direction. And most of the rest of Ellis County looking at non-severe activity. The Maypearl area, you do have some heavier rain and possibly some small hail moving your direction. So that's just got a question about Maypearl in the comments there. That is really the concern with Maypearl at the moment, is that we could be looking at some hail moving into that area here in the next few moments. Let's kind of broaden this out a little bit. So this is the area that we're watching. This is the cell up in Ellis County. We just have spotty showers and thunderstorms, but this is the cell that we've been watching. This is the area where we're watching for any kind of signs of rotation. And okay, so it does look, at least on the reflectivity, it does look like we're kind of losing that circulation shape a little bit, maybe at least just a little bit just outside of Bynum there. We'll see what this shows here on the left. I suspect it's going to show some de-escalated circulation, but it may show it tightening up. We'll just have to kind of see what that does. But these storms oftentimes will cycle up and down, so we could very well see this storm strengthen here in the next few moments. It looks like it could be getting pulled into a larger line, which would decrease the hail threat overall, decrease the tornado threat in general. So, it does look like areas in eastern Johnson County, Alvarado, Venus, that area, are going to miss out on this activity. Looks like the strongest of this is moving towards Maypearl now, heading on, later on into Waxahachie, possibly even Midlothian as well. But it does look like eastern Johnson County is not going to get hit by the strongest of this activity. So let's zoom back into this area where we were primarily concerned. Okay, Nicole Hernandez, new to Texas, no basement. We don't really use basements here in Texas, but if you need to get to shelter, you want to go to the room in the most centermost part of your home. Try to get away from windows, away from exterior walls. So if you have a bathroom or a closet or something with no exterior walls, do that. If even it's just a hallway that's in the middle of your home, then close all the doors and that kind of thing. Then go there. That's the best thing to do. So still not seeing any signs of organized rotation. Looks like that has kind of diminished there, at least for the moment. Now, it is interesting what the National Weather Service is saying. They're saying that it is tightening up. Now, the distance from the radar may make it somewhat hard to see. I do I do see a couple of things. I see that there's brighter red here, brighter green here, not real tight. Although the part of the storm we were looking at, so I may be just looking in the wrong spot. Right here towards Abbott, we're getting some pretty close. And then right here in this area too, overall it still looks pretty broad to me. But the issue is that the trends, we're still seeing these reds and greens continue to get pretty close together, and they may warn that it may be pretty quickly ready to escalate again. I talked about how they swell up and escalate and then de-escalate and then escalate and de-escalate. So they may be looking a little bit further ahead than I am at the moment to get newer information. But the storm in Hillsborough, it does look like we're looking at a storm that is at least trying to rotate at this time. And we are seeing some brighter colors just south of Hillsborough here. And they said between Hillsborough and Abbott, so here's your green and here's your red. And they are pretty cozy right now. I don't see a specific couplet at the moment, a specific point I can point to and say this is the center of the rotation. But, it is definitely, we're having those reds and greens stay really tight, close together. So that is an area of concern, because that does establish a trend, at least, of continuing shear and circulation in that area, however broad or tight it may be. So we'll see if the National Weather Service does need to issue a warning on that. Here is Ellis County. You have Milford and Italy. Okay, yes, we do have, so it does look like we're getting some tightening circulation again between Bynum and Chat there. So this is kind of the area we're looking at. So, we are seeing brighter greens there, and brighter reds, so we are starting to tighten that rotation up again. So this is a storm that may need to have a warning attached to it as that heads off towards the Blooming Grove area, towards the Milford area here. Looks like it may skirt south of Ellis County. The heaviest rain right now is in the Maypearl area, going to be heading up to the north. And then, of course, just east of Hillsborough, that's where we have that possible circulation that the National Weather Service is keeping an eye on, and we're keeping an eye on it as well. Just to go back to Ellis County for a moment, kind of zoom out. Heavy rain across parts of Ellis County, but no severe weather in Ellis County right now. The good news is that it does not look like anything severe is happening there at the moment. We do have this area of some heavy rains, possibly some small hail, could be either one. But this is the area where we're watching for possible rotation that could prompt a warning that could include at least parts of Ellis County. I would say possibly the Avalon and Rankin and Byrd areas. It could very well extend into those areas if it does extend far enough north. And the National Weather Service doesn't have any. Okay. Fam Sam, you're saying you heard rotation over Maypearl. No rotation over Maypearl right now. Not sure what you're referring to there, but we are watching circulation kind of to the south east of Hillsborough, that area. That's what we're watching. So nothing immediately threatening Maypearl. What we are seeing in Maypearl is some heavier rain, but not really rotation. If you'll give me just a moment here. All right, so let's continue. Let's continue to keep an eye on this activity as we see another update on the right, but no corresponding update on the left yet. So let's continue to just wait and see if we're going to see more evidence of tightening circulation. No new word yet from the National Weather Service on whether they want to issue a warning on that or if they're considering it. So still seeing some pretty tight shear here between Hillsboro and Hubbard there. Again, I'm not seeing a specific couplet in a one spot, but we are still seeing very, very close contact between inbound and outbound winds. So they may want to they may decide to issue a warning that's, mostly precautionary at least for that particular area. And we'll have to kind of wait and see what they do, but the brighter reds and the brighter greens are getting brighter. So we do have strengthening winds in those areas at the moment. This whole system is kind of becoming part of a line. It is kind of elongating. That may serve to somewhat diminish that rotation a little bit, but at the same time, by the same token, you see this, and as that bows out, then, that presents a whole new opportunity for rotation. And you can see some stronger winds now moving into the Waxahachie area, Italy and Forreston, and towards in Milford right now, as this kind of starts to bow out a little bit. So as we go a little bit further out, you can see we are definitely seeing a bowing section here, and brighter greens are meeting up with the brighter reds here. So it does look like this whole section is strengthening. We have probably the heaviest rain in Ellis County right now, just on the western side of Waxahachie. And then down below that, just to the east of Hillsboro, some heavier rain in the Bynum area, headed towards Mertens there. And then, of course, the area where we're watching for rotation, right around the Bynum area at the moment. No word yet from the National Weather Service if they want to explore further on issuing a warning for that area. There's no warning yet, but we will, probably hear from them shortly what they're thinking. They're monitoring, they're discussing right now, but if there is a warning to come, we will have that pretty soon, I would think, because they're probably bouncing between what I am in terms of seeing it bowing out, but knowing that there's possibly some increasing activity there. And if we just look south of Milford here, that could possibly turn into a little bit of a notch. We have some stronger winds there moving in, and kind of a little bit of a possible notch there. If you'll give me one more moment. Okay. The cats can't decide what they want to do, and I'm trying to keep it quiet in here, so but this is what we're watching, and we're still seeing very close divides between those incoming and outgoing winds. Waxahachie does not need to take cover at this time. I don't see any reason for that. There are some stronger winds blowing in that area, so gusty winds returning to Waxahachie. Now, what I am noticing is south of Milford here, we do have some stronger winds developing there. So this is kind of a focused area of stronger winds just south of Milford, headed towards Mertens there. This is Ellis County. So this is kind of the very bottom corner of Ellis County right now. So we could very well be seeing the very early stages of more circulation trying to develop there. That could be part of what we're seeing as far as this little kind of notch sticking out there. So that will need to be watched very closely over the next few minutes. So as we continue to monitor this whole situation, we've been talking about this threat for tornadoes. Of course, we have that tornado watch that continues for, the next, 3.5 hours now, until 7 a.m. And that is because there is a lot of shear in this area that could be motivating little areas like this of possible rotation. And okay, we have another update on the right. Let's get this update on the left and see what these winds are doing. And I apologize if something messes up because the cat's gone rogue and I can't really control him at the moment. So, this is exactly what I want to happen at 4:30 a.m. But hey, it is what it is. So, you know, we're going to continue to keep an eye on all of this. This activity just south of Milford here, that's where we're seeing these strengthening winds. I think that's going to be probably the area of most interest at the moment. No new word from the National Weather Service yet, so I assume, you know, at the moment, no news is good news. But we'll continue to watch all of this, of course, over the next few moments. And Melissa, where are you located? You're sending a report of very heavy rain, but where are you located? That's going to help me to better understand the conditions that you're reporting there. And Matt, I don't know if you're hearing any information about that circulation. Have you heard anything new? Let's see, still seeing some strengthening winds in the Milford area, not as concentrated, but we are still seeing very tight contact between these ingoing and outgoing winds south of the Mertens area. Really from Mertens down south, almost to the Malone area. And yep, there's the cat. Okay. Well, all right, I'm just going to have to deal with that. I'll deal with that in the morning. It is morning, whenever, sometime. I guess he's just going to stay there, I'm not sure. But, you know, whatever. So this is going to continue to push off to the east. And we'll get another update here pretty shortly of these winds that are, again, strengthening a little bit in the kind of the Milford area right now. Kind of watching some of the comments here too. And, you know, there is plenty of heavy rain in Ellis County right now. It looks like we're intensifying some of the rain in the Waxahachie area. And looks like we could be, again, in the Milford area, things are kind of intensifying a little bit. Let me see here. All right, let me, no word again from the National Weather Service, so I guess no news is good news, but we're going to continue to keep an eye on this. Strengthening winds south of Italy right now, those brighter colors that you're seeing, so I would imagine Milford's getting some pretty heavy rain, and stronger winds there as well. And by the way, if you've ever wondered why if you ever wondered why the chair looks terrible, it's this guy right here. Okay, one moment here. Okay, so yeah, so kind of what we were seeing, at least momentarily, the rotation in Hill County is kind of become a little bit more of they're saying it's a shear zone. So yeah, and that's kind of it's bowing out now, right? So we're seeing the reds and the greens get together. What has me wanting to continue watching this is south of Italy, we are seeing an escalation of winds in this particular area. And sometimes what'll happen is you see this escalation of winds, and then that starts to push outward, which begins to pull in some inflow. So we'll need to keep an eye on that too. South of Italy, they're going to be moving off towards Avalon, Rankin Bird, and Bardwell, those areas. And so that's going to be kind of our probably area of most concern for the moment. It's pretty heavy winds moving through Waxahachie right now, through the Forreston area as well. This has all, if we put this in motion, this has all kind of turned into, you see this is all turning into a kind of a bowing out section, which is good in the fact that we got rid of the we got rid of the supercell structure, which did kind of help to at least minimize the tornado threat as it was, but now we have to watch for the shear that is along the leading edge of this and this line, and then of course, like I said, those growing wind speeds south of Italy. Looks like if we, this is the whole map here, so I know people are asking about different parts of the county. Midlothian, you're behind the heaviest of this. I wouldn't say you're quite clear at the moment. Now, the tornado watch has been shaved back a little bit, but Ellis County is still included. So the Ellis County portion of the tornado watch continues. So we're under a tornado watch at least until 7 a.m. That may be trimmed away earlier if we can get this last part of the storm through without incident. But on areas south of Italy, I appreciate Commissioner Perry jumping into the chat there. Thank you so much. South of Italy right now, that's where we have the strongest winds. And that's going to continue here. And that's moving off. This is moving off pretty quickly now to the east. Now that this is bowed out and kind of taken a linear shape, then, that's pretty much going to stick to... I think we're going to stick to that linear shape for the rest of the time that it's with us. But as you can see down here in the Italy area, this line's becoming a little more ragged. We have strengthening winds here. So I think that this is going to be something, yet again, something else to watch. This whole area is really going to have to be, I think, watched and attended to as it continues to move off to the east, at least as long as it looks like it's cycling up. Very heavy rain in the Milford and Mertens area. Strong winds east of Milford there. I'm just going to check a few more things here. Nothing on the radios, and we'll see what the National Weather Service has to say. But strong winds headed towards the Avalon area, Avalon, Rankin, Bird, and Bardwell. That particular area is under the gun for not only some heavy rain, but very strong winds. And thank you, Janie and Adrienne, for the stars. I really do appreciate that. This is going to be moving off to the east. I don't have an exact speed on this, but I would say Avalon, Rankin, Bird, and Bardwell need to be prepared for this really in the next few minutes. I mean, that's pretty much going to be the focus in that area is you're already getting the rain, but those very strong winds are moving into that direction as well. And if we take a look here, we're looking at winds possibly up to 60 miles per hour in that storm, and that's radar indicated. So here we have, we just actually had about 62 miles per hour there, headed right towards the Avalon area, and then again down into another 62 mile per hour wind gust that's radar indicated there, just to the southwest of Avalon. So could be looking at severe thunderstorm level winds in that area. So that could facilitate a severe thunderstorm warning in the next few minutes. That is only intensifying as it moves towards the Avalon area. We see 64 miles per hour radar indicated there. And again, 64 miles per hour in that area. And so it's moving right towards the Avalon area. I don't know that it's going to be cleared by 5. Probably. It's moving fairly quickly, so I don't think it's going to be in the Avalon area too much longer. But the Avalon area, you do need to be bracing for some very strong winds in that area for the next few minutes, as that's probably moving in right now. And thank you, Megan, for your thank you for the stars. Just one moment here, and the cat can't decide what he's trying. I'm trying to get him out of here. Okay, there he goes. He would scratch the door, then I open the door, then he runs away, so on and so forth. But this is moving off to the east-northeast, and if you see this, it is moving in a northeasterly direction, so I would just say northeast. This is the area of concern. I'll give another broad view here momentarily. And, the folks in Midlothian, you are behind the heaviest of this, so I don't think that your area really has to be too concerned. Waxahachie will be clearing out pretty soon. Maypearl's clearing out as well. Even Milford is kind of on the back side of this. But really, the biggest concern at the moment is these very strong winds headed towards the Avalon area. And I'm going to continue to watch the National Weather Service discussion here. But let's kind of take a broader view, because there's a lot of new people jumping in, asking about basically everywhere. So here's a broader view of everything. Here's Midlothian, Waxahachie, Italy. Let's put this into motion. Here are those stronger winds east of Italy heading towards the end of the Avalon area. And so Waxahachie still getting some heavier rain. Midlothian is mostly on the backside of this. Maypearl's mostly on the backside of this. Ferris is getting some heavier rain just moving in now. Palmer's got some heavier rain moving in now. Ennis will be getting this part of the storm very soon. So that's pretty much the lay of the land. That should answer pretty much all of our questions here. Milford is kind of starting to slowly clear here. Italy is getting hit pretty hard right now with heavy rain. But really what we want to continue to watch is this area in Avalon. This is where the strongest winds are. Very concentrated winds. We'll take another look at this. 62 mile per hour winds that are radar indicated here. 62, 64. Okay, so severe thunderstorm warning shortly for Fannin and Lamar County, so no warning for Ellis County at this time. Radar indicating 67 mile per hour winds on this part of the storm. And thank you, Paul, for the stars. I really appreciate that. But if we look at the strongest winds here, 67 miles per hour winds, and that is radar indicated, and that is a pretty good consistent indication, at least, per radar, of severe level winds. So we could very well have a severe thunderstorm warning coming for Ellis County at any time, or possibly not. But that is what we're seeing that's radar indicated. So the Avalon area, very likely getting some very strong winds in that particular area. And it's settling right between 50 and 60 mile per hour winds, except for that one area, again, 67 mile per hour winds, radar indicated. Okay, so we have 58 there, and that is the threshold. 58 miles per hour in winds is the threshold. And so we'll have to, they're issuing the warning now for Fannin and Lamar counties. We'll see if Ellis County is going to get any kind of treatment for this part of the storm that does, at least per radar, appear to be producing severe level winds right around above 60 miles per hour, actually. Kind of trying to get a view here, and we'll get an update shortly, so I'll take this off. So Bardwolf, Rankin, really close to Ennis right now, getting the strongest of this, right towards Blooming Grove, and right about to hit Navarro Mills Lake as well. So this is the line. It continues to move off in those strong winds. And again, strong winds headed right for Bardwell, Rankin, Bird area. Let's get another look at this. Yeah, so winds right around between 45 and 60 miles per hour at this moment. I can't quite pinpoint. It doesn't look like we're in the 60s anymore, at least, for wind. So, we're not quite looking at what we were just a moment ago, at least not that I can see. But we're still looking at 58 mile an hour plus wind gusts in that area. So, the National Weather Service could be looking at a warning there. Let's get back over here again. 58.16 miles per hour. Not seeing the wind speeds in the 60s as I was just a moment ago, but right borderline, really. per radar indication for the severe thunderstorm warning. So that may be what they're watching. This thing may be straddling the border here. Would not be surprised if a warning is issued. It may be a short-term warning, but it does look like they are, the wind speeds here are per criteria for the warning. And they, may very well be seeing something I'm not seeing. So not saying they're wrong, but this is just what you need to be warned of in the Bardwell area. So yeah, we're looking at top winds right around 58 miles per hour, which is right on that borderline, right on that limit there. We continue to keep an eye on this. And let's take a broader view. So again, we're looking at Italy and Waxahachie, really the I-35 corridor here, kind of on the back side of all this activity. Ferris getting hit very hard right now. Palmer getting plenty of heavy rain right now. Blooming Grove and Bardwell getting heavy rain, moving right into the Ennis area very, very soon, if not already. That's pretty much going to be the next focus area. Very strong winds leaving the Avalon area, headed towards Bardwell and Ennis very, very soon. Really picking up in Bardwell. Yeah, that's going to be those very strong winds that are moving through that area. So over the next few minutes, we could very well be looking at some dangerous conditions there. So watching the National Weather Service discussion here, and it does look like we have some showers off to further to the west around Eastland. Doesn't look like anything what we're dealing with right now, so we could have some more rain overnight that moves through, but looks like we're pretty much done with the severe weather after this line moves through. This line from Hubbard to Blooming Grove up to Ennis and Ferris. Really this is going to become mostly an Ennis to Corsicana area focus in the next few minutes. So Blooming Grove, it's moving through you now. Ennis just arriving there. Very close to Dawson at this time. Going to be moving towards Corsicana pretty soon, towards Rice. You, David, over in Rice is going to be moving your direction very soon as well. Some of those stronger winds possibly impacting the Rice area pretty soon. And no warnings issued right now. We continue to be under that tornado watch until 7 a.m. or, at least until the National Weather Service cancels that for our area. I don't think that tornado watch will continue all the way to 7 a.m. I do think that we will be, trimmed out of that once this line moves through. I think that's really going to be what we can focus on. The strongest winds are hammering Bardwell right now, heading right on to Ennis, following really Highway 34 here. Going to be crossing 287 pretty soon, and then that will be in the Ennis area very quickly after that. And I'm not hearing reports of hail at this time. Mostly going to be a wind threat right now for the Ennis area. Very heavy rain, very strong winds in that area. That's going to be the primary concern, at least for the moment there. So let's kind of do this broader view again. And Midlothian and Italy, and really, for the most part, Waxahachie kind of on the back end of this, so the severe weather threat has pretty well cleared your area for the night. You'll continue to have some showers and thunderstorms overnight, mostly showers, but it does look like the severe weather threat has left your area. Really, if you're I-35 or westward, the severe weather threat really has left your particular area. Now, something of interest here. Again, we've been watching these little notches to the west of Rice, right around the Bird area. You see where we have this kind of shape here, and then a little bit of there, and that's going to correspond here and here. So could be trying to develop some circulation there. And that's in the Bird area, going to be moving towards Rice. So we will keep an eye on that here in the next few minutes. Again, we've seen a few of these already tonight, and nothing came out of them. The vast majority of these aren't going to do anything. So, we're going to be we're going to be in a pretty good position to keep an eye on that. But you do see these winds pushing out right towards the M-House area, moving towards Rice right now. This is right on the Ellis County and Navarro County line. So this is going to be moving right towards the Rice area, Rice and Alma there, probably south of Ennis. So we're going to continue to watch this particular area here for any signs of growing rotation. All of this activity has congealed into a line that is moving pretty quickly to the east now. So once this activity moves out, we'll be done for the night. We can all go to bed and get a short night's sleep. So, or short morning sleep, I guess it is. I'll be probably dragged out of bed pretty soon here after this. And looks like some discussion on winds coming into the Ennis area. And we can go ahead and we can look at what's radar indicated there. Radar is indicating winds of 70 miles per hour, 71 miles per hour there. So could be some very strong winds moving into the Ennis area, some very strong straight line winds. So if you're in the Ennis area, definitely be taking shelter. You don't necessarily need to be prepared for a tornado, but could very well be looking at some very strong winds in the Ennis area. Joshua, I wish I was up early. I'm still up late. So, but I appreciate the recognition there. I hadn't been to sleep yet, so, it is what it is. But this is the activity that's moving into the Ennis area right now, and that's radar indicated right around 71 miles per hour, 71, 72 miles per hour. That's strictly radar indication. That's not confirmed on the ground, so very strong winds moving into that area right now, into Ennis. And understand that straight line winds can do as much damage sometimes as a weak tornado. So just keep that in mind, that we could be looking at a very dangerous situation unfolding at this time in that area. And then, as I mentioned, let me take this off here. As I mentioned, we're watching this area to the south for what could be trying to develop some kind of rotation. And thank you, Leslie, for the stars contributed there. Okay. Yeah, and the National Weather Service is saying winds of 20 to 30 miles per hour for Ennis. So if that is the case, then radar may be exaggerating that some. But, we are watching this area, which is kind of surging ahead. So that is an area to be concerned about. Just north of M-House right now, headed right towards Rice and Alma there. So strong winds moving into the Ennis area right now with heavy rain. So yeah, so this is the area of very strong winds, very heavy rain that has moved into Ennis there, and then this is the area of developing and increasing winds moving right towards, let me kind of move that a little bit and get a better view, right towards just north of M-House, right along the county line towards Alma and Rice right now. That is kind of my primary area of concern at this moment. Ennis getting some pretty heavy rain, strong winds, and then watching the area just north of M-House for some rotation. Thank you, Samantha, for the stars that you just sent in. I greatly appreciate those. And no warnings for Ellis County right now. Let me just, make sure everyone understands that. No warnings for Ellis County. There is a tornado watch that continues until 7 a.m. or, until further notice. We may not ever, we may be out of the watch well before then, but, that's the current guideline. So heavy activity continuing for the Ennis area. And then now we do have this activity, continuing to watch this, and this is where we can sometimes see strengthening winds that are outbound and winds getting pulled in that are inbound. So that's where we have to watch for rotation to possibly develop in between those two things. So we just have to keep an eye on all of that. And I believe I am due. Look at the timestamps here. Okay. Really hoping to get an update on the radar here pretty soon on the left. I will say that we are at 0.87 hundredths of an inch. So pretty close to all above 3/4 of an inch of rain here. Okay, could be some tightening rotation here just to the west of Rice here. Again, following the Ellis County line, getting some stronger winds interacting directly with some of the inbound winds here. Inbound winds are not terribly strong, but we're continuing to watch the possibility of some rotation here. And as you can see there, that could be indicative of some inbound winds there right just south of Oak Grove. So that will be worth watching over the next few minutes. Could be looking at some strengthening circulation there that could prompt a warning. We've not had any tornado warnings, I think, for North Texas yet tonight. Not that I am aware of. Let me kind of zoom out and see. Not that I have seen yet. So, we've been lucky enough to avoid those so far. But we do have that tornado watch that continues. So, it does continue to be a concern. I'm just kind of getting another view here. Okay. All right. Still watching this area on the left here of a possible circulation trying to develop. Right now, it's not anything immediately alarming, but again, it does, serve watching this. Again, here is Ennis with very heavy rain, strong winds there. More strengthening winds moving towards the Rice and Alma areas. It doesn't look as quite as deep a notch, but strengthening winds for sure, which could be cause for concern in that area. So if you are in the Rice or Alma areas, and you do have a safe space where you can go, I would say to go ahead and take up that space. It's not going to hurt anything. As I've mentioned many times, if there is a brief spin-up tornado in any of these areas of rotation, it happens really quick. It's not always easy to catch it. It's going to happen quickly, and it's going to be gone quickly. Probably not going to do a terrible amount of damage. They're relatively weak tornadoes. But anytime you're in kind of one of these little notches, I pretty much encourage you almost immediately to take cover. For nothing else, there are stronger winds involved. So, if you're in a particularly concerning area, a home that may not necessarily hold up to the storm or whatever the case might be, go ahead and take shelter. Go ahead and take whatever safety precautions you can. Thank you, Rhonda, for the stars there. We've had another update, and strong winds in the Oak Grove area moving right towards Alma. Does look like it's starting to straighten out again, starting to smooth out, which is a good sign. Stronger winds possibly right south of M House, but not seeing anything that's immediately caught my eye there. It's hard to tell if that's a very tight area of strong winds or not. It doesn't quite look like it, but it does look like this area near Rice is straightening out. So what I will do is, I know people want a broader view. So here's what we're looking at. Here is this line, and this has kind of been the main event tonight. And this line is going to continue to move off to the east. As you can see, it's kind of moving northeast, but all of the progress is eastward. So that's what we're watching. And as you can see very clearly on radar, again, we have another one of these just on the other side of Alma there. Just another one of these little kind of notches developing here. Just south of Creechville, just north of Alma. And that's really the same spot. So, you know, not any kind of tight rotation, not anything to be immediately afraid of or concerned about there. You know, but something we definitely needed to watch. So I can say that most of Ellis County, if you're I-35 or west, you're done. I-45 right now is getting, really the Ennis area is getting the heaviest activity right now, the strongest winds, the heaviest rain, possibly some small hail mixed in with that. But it doesn't really look like we're looking at anything severe at the moment for Ellis County. So I think we might just actually get through tonight unscathed. Also looks the same way for Corsicana, the Navarro County area. Storms moving in your area, but I don't see anything that immediately concerns me as far as rotation or terribly strong winds. Now there could be some shear developing right around the Barry area, but not anything that's immediately caught my eye. So it does look like the threat for severe weather in this area does appear to be diminishing somewhat. I think just a few more moments to allow all of this activity to move off to the east will be helpful. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like any kind of rotation that we had here is pretty much becoming disorganized. Not seeing any kind of immediate signs of circulation. Heavy rain in Ennis, but it looks like the Ennis area, the winds are minimizing now. Thank you, Dalen, for the stars, for sending those. I greatly appreciate that. But it does look like this line is going to move out of our area without incident. The part of the line that's moving through Corsicana, moving towards Corsicana right now, moving through the Navarro County area, does not look severe, does not look like it will be severe at any point. And beyond that, I don't think that we really have a whole lot to be concerned about at this point. I think anything further will move off to the east as a part of this larger line in general. Kind of update what I'm looking at here as well. Okay. Yeah, so more eastward progress of this line, but again, not seeing anything immediately worth concern for these areas. I think we can just handle these as pretty normal showers and thunderstorms at this point. I think that we can acknowledge that these are not severe, that the severe weather threat for Ellis and Navarro counties has passed, and there's a little bit of rain in Hill County right now as well, but not anything terribly concerning in that particular area. Any warnings that are issued are really going to be for the western portions of these places. West of Corsicana, you might be looking at this little notch here. I am not seeing anything that really substantiates a major issue there. You may see this little kind of brighter color, but I just don't see anything organized enough to cause concern for me. And unless the National Weather Service, has something different to say in the next few moments, I don't think we really have anything to be concerned about there. Yeah, I think we are. I think we're good to go there. So the Ennis area, Ennis is going to continue to get some rain, and it's going to be wrapping up pretty soon there. It's already starting to kind of calm down. So Ennis, things will wrap up there soon. Rice and Alma, heavy rain will continue, but looks like you will be spared the severe weather for tonight. Just one more view of the whole area just to kind of orient yourself. Corsicana, have some moderate rain heading your way. It looks like you may miss most of the really terribly heavy rain. But we'll put this into motion for you one more time. So most of Hill County is clear now. Navarro County, you're clearing out as well. Things are clearing out of Ellis County as well. The I-45 corridor will be, at least from Ennis northward, will be clear pretty soon. So, we have better weather ahead for the next few days. And it's going to be, we're getting some David's exactly right. We're getting some much needed rain in this particular area. And, we'll take every drop we can get to hopefully get rid of any of this fire danger and that kind of thing. We're approaching an inch here at the studio, and I know that the Red Oak area is probably already, some of that area has already, moved past it. We have a question about Bardwell. Things are moving past Bardwell now. There's still going to be lightning and thunder in that area. Allow these storms to move through overnight. Allow them to kind of get out of here. Don't think that we're going to see any, a lot of clearing. We do have some more rain possibly off to the west. Not anything severe for any stretch of the imagination. But I do think that, we can get out of this relatively unscathed and say that, we pretty much dodged a bullet again tonight without really a whole lot of incident. We had some areas of rotation, but we were able to get past those. So thank you so much for everyone watching. I'm going to go ahead and go get some rest before I have another busy day ahead of me, coming up in a few hours. But thank you so much for all who watched, and I will bring more updates in the next few days. As for the next chance